Hey there, gang. Now, if you're anything like me, you are sick and tired of all of this universes beyond nonsense. I mean, when are they going to respect the fact that Magic the Gathering players want original, Wait, it's Final Fantasy. It's like Final Fantasy. I'm never going to financially recover from this. Welcome to Head Games.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is the Zombie Apocalypse. Sorry for the delay between the episodes of the podcast. I got a new job and I moved to a new city called Midgar. The cool thing about this city, there's a giant cannon attached to the big tower in the middle. And, oh my god, what's happening? Oh, dang. Anyway, back to the podcast episode. They could just call me Steve here.
Hello again, friends and opponents. I'm Jetterex, mercenary for hire, possible heir to a long empty throne, most definitely descended from a secret magical species called the Tim.
Oh my god, that sounds wonderful.
Big main character energy.
Yeah, right? If only I had that. Thank you for joining us today on the Head Games Commander podcast, where we talk about the Magic the Gathering Commander format. So, Tim, since there isn't really any new news in the Magic the Gathering scene, what are we talking about today?
I can't believe it's been so slow lately.
It's so weird.
So if you are, in fact, a fan of Magic the Gathering, or for that matter, a fan of the award-winning RPG video game series Final Fantasy, you probably already know that our next Universes Beyond set is the Final Fantasy MTG mashup that we've all been waiting for, and it does not disappoint. So today, we're going to highlight some cards that we found from the new set that we're looking to slot into our favorite commander decks as soon as we get our grubby little hands on them. Zombie and I are going to take turns doing our favorite thing to do in Magic, which is gushing over new and spicy cards.
But before we go into the fun stuff, we would like to take this opportunity to ask you to like, subscribe, do all the things that you're supposed to do on YouTube, share it, tell all your friends, because quite frankly, we're the best podcast in all of creation.
You're in the onlyest.
The onlyest. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go dive deep into one of the decks that he wants to add cards to. And Tim, what's the deck you brought for us first?
Okay, so I'm going to start by talking about my Ratadrabic of Urborg deck. So this is an Orzhov commander, 2 in Orzhov for a 3/3 zombie wizard, Vigilance Ward 2. Other zombies you control have Vigilance. The most important part's at the end here. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. So my Ratadrabic deck, all of the creatures are legendary. And of course, in Final Fantasy, we got some fantastic new black and white legends. Some are actually in both colors, some are just in one. I wanted to talk about just 2 in particular that stand out. There's actually quite a few cards that I think could make the cut from this set, which is really remarkable. I just want to start out by saying that this is one thing that the Final Fantasy set really did for me in an exciting way, is there is so much good commander fodder here for so many of the decks that we love so well. So the first one should surprise no one, as it is arguably one of the best cards in the set. It is the mono black Sephiroth Fabled Soldier. So this is a flip card. On the front half, it's 2 and a black. It's a 3/3. When it enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If this is the 4th time this ability has resolved, transform Sephiroth into Sephiroth One-Winged Angel. The backside is a 5/5 flying creature. As this creature transforms into Sephiroth One-Winged Angel, you get an emblem. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. When it attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures if you draw that many cards.
I wonder why this is going in this list. I don't really see the link here. I mean, you want your stuff to die, Tim? That sounds horrible.
I do, especially when you have the commander out and stuff dies, you just get token copies of those things. So
Oh no.
this is this card by itself. I mean, it's going to be a commander. People are going to play this as its own mono black aristocrat style commander, and it's going to be good at what it does. It goes very well in the 99 of Brad Dravik. Being it sacrifices at least one thing when it enters, replaces it with a card, but with Radadravik out, you're getting a replacement for that creature, and also most importantly has a aristocrat style life drain effect, which the deck doesn't have a whole lot of because it's only legendary creatures, so it's not playing with not playing with the traditional blood artist type effects.
Yeah, I think
so. This fills that spot very well.
Yeah, I think this is a really good include because right now you only have the one creature that aristocrats, and I think it only triggers once each turn, if I'm not mistaken.
You talk about Bran,
yeah.
And yes, there are other effects in the deck that do it, but I believe there's very few creatures that do. Right. There is more than one because there's an Orzhov, Elas Ilkor.
Oh right. I forgot about that dude.
Does a bad impression of a blood artist, but this does a fantastic. This is a blood artist.
Yeah.
Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses life. It has the blood artist effect on it for one more mana, but it's also a sacrifice engine on its own. And if you flip it, which is a very real possibility in that deck, the backside is really, really strong. And then it gets you the emblem that gets you the blood artist effect for the rest of the game. There's no way to interact with emblems.
It seems pretty solid.
So I decided to choose one black card and one white card. There are some Orzhov legends in there that I think are worth looking at, but I think that this one, similar to Sephiroth, creates card advantage. And the card is Venat, Heart of Hydaelyn. This is a 3/3 for 1 and 2 white. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. And then you can tap 7, tap it, exile target non-land permanent, and transform VNAT, activating only as a sorcery. On the backside, it's Hydaelyn the Mother Crystal, 4/4 indestructible. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control until your next turn it gains indestructible. If that creature is legendary, draw a card.
So I was going to ask, how often do you plan on transforming it? But it turns out the backside's pretty freaking solid too. Like, 7 mana is a steep investment, but you're also removing something, which is pretty solid too. So
I think the answer to your question is not very often, just to be straightforward. Right. I read the backside because it is part of the card, but really a 3/3 that reads, when you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. The whole point of the Radadravik deck is to get multiple copies of these cards.
Yep.
So if you are sacrificing this with Radadravik out and getting a token copy of it, and then getting the original back, and maybe doing it more than once, or copying the tokens, you're hopefully going to be getting multiple card draws off of each new legendary creature that you cast. That's the reason that I saw this as like just a 3 mana creature that draws cards off of every other creature you cast.
Yeah, I think it's a very solid include, and the fact that they made this card, I'm happy for you, Tim.
It's not like Radadravik wasn't already very strong.
No,
but
not
like,
at all.
I love that both of these cards draw cards. Like the card advantage on both of these is very real.
Wait, so to win a game of Commander, you have to deal damage, draw cards, and spend more mana. Interesting.
Yeah, there's 2 out of 3 here. We're dealing damage and drawing cards.
Very interesting. So, we're gonna go into my deck that I picked. We picked Bilbo the Birthday Celebrant. We do have an episode of the podcast about this list, so please go check it out. Maybe the link will be in the description. But basically what he does is whenever I gain 1 or more life, I gain 1 additional instead, and then I can play Abzan in 2, tap, exile it, and I get to put all creatures from my library onto the battlefield. So we're just here to have a birthday party. So the first card I picked is Aerith Gainsborough. She is a 3 mana 2/2 lifelinker. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Aerith. And when Aerith Gainsborough dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith. She's going to get really big because the way I built the deck is based off Soul Sisters. If I have 2 Soul Sisters, I'm putting 2+1/+1 counters by playing 1 creature. She's going to get big. I'm going to gain a whole bunch of life. It's going to get nasty. By the way, would you like to buy a flower for only 1 gil?
Oh, that hit right between the eyes. That hurts a little.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get way worse in a minute.
I think that she's a win condition. I mean, obviously you're trying to have a birthday party, but like with the number of other legendary creatures in the list, like this becomes a very real threat. Do you have ways to sacrifice, or you do, don't you?
Some, not a lot, but some. Like the main deck, or the main focus of the deck isn't like a aristocrat, flip my graveyard or whatever. But like there's just good life gain things when it involves sacrificing things. So I do have a couple.
Think of at least a couple of, or a good number, I think, of legendary creatures in the list. So
yeah, there's definitely plenty of legendaries. And so worst case, she just gets super big. Yeah.
It's true, and she by herself is just getting very big and gaining you a whole lot of life. So it's nice to have a kind of a Johnny's Pride mate in there that's even basically, with upside.
Yeah, it turns out it's pretty good. So the next card I picked, surprise, surprise, is another Aerith card. It's Aerith, Last Ancient. Well, she's not an ancient. Moment of silence. Yeah, spoilers for a 20-year-old game. I mean, I guess the remake came out, 8 years ago or something like crazy like that? Anyway, just dating ourselves here. So, Aerith the Last Ancient is a 2, a green, and a white. She is a 3/5 lifelink, and says at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you gain 7 or more life this turn, return that creature to the battlefield instead. So, it's not a not as good Celestine, because Celestine looks at the number you gain and then you put it into the battlefield based off the amount of life you gain, where this is like I have to hit that threshold of 7. But let's make this perfectly clear. Gaining 7 life in a single turn is dare I say a cakewalk?
Yeah, not hard.
Not hard at all. But like having cards like this makes me want to run a couple more sacrifice outlets so I can sacrifice the creature and bring them back, and getting that constant value from my graveyard seems pretty solid. So
and there's plenty of things that like that allow you to sacrifice for especially for the specific purpose of gaining life.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So especially if you can find some repeatable ones that do that. Very interesting.
Yeah. So those are the 2 cards I picked, and surprise, surprise, they all deal with life gain. Who would have thought?
Are they, since you're looking at them, are they clerics?
Human, cleric, druid, and I'm assuming she's a cleric as well, but I already got rid of that picture.
Okay, so I think the smaller one, the 3-drop one, is a cleric. So if you're looking at the 4-drop one,
the 4-drop one is a cleric, yeah.
Yeah, so you have at least that land, that Starlit Sanctum.
Oh, yeah. So, Tim, what's the deck you picked next?
So I haven't talked about this deck a lot, and we didn't do a video on it or anything. We did talk last year about our favorite things from the year 2024, and my favorite thing from 2024 was Duskmourn. And I didn't end up with a commander that I really loved out of Duskmourn, but then I bought this precon and I started working on it, and I wasn't super happy with it until now. I actually think it's going to be super fun with these upgrades. So the card is Aminatu Veil Piercer. It's an Esper commander, 1 in Esper, white, blue, black, from the Duskmourn precons. It's a 2/4 human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 2. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. So basically, if the first card you draw is an enchantment, you can cast it at that moment for 4 mana less than you normally would. That makes a couple of the new Saga summons really cheap, like way cheaper than they should be. And the couple that I'm going to talk about, and I'll talk about more of them later, just kind of accidentally, because the summons are very cool, and I think that it was a really neat design choice to do them in the way that they did.
Yeah.
So the first one,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, never mind. No, we're good.
The first one, The first one is Primal Odin. Summon Primal Odin. It's a black Saga Knight enchantment creature. It's 4 and 2 black. So if you miracle it, it costs 2 black. Remember that. So it's a 5/3. First lore counter destroys target creature and opponent controls. So it's basically the Black Gear Hulk. Like, as far as the rate goes, it's a 6-mana creature that destroys another creature. Second one reads, this creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, so it turns it into Phage the Untouchable.
Oh man.
And this deck, the Aminatou deck, is playing with a number of different ways to make your enchantment creatures evasive, including flying and a number of other things. And then the third the third lore counter, which it sacrifice it after the third lore counter resolves. You draw 2 cards and each player loses 2 life. So the reason that I chose this one first is its utility. Is that really because the deck does a lot of deck manipulation where it's deliberately trying to choose what card it's going to draw next. So getting this to the top means I'm going to deal with whatever threat is on the table. And then if you don't deal with this, there's a non-zero chance that I just kill somebody with it the next turn.
Yeah, that card's...
I think it's fun. And really, I think it's exactly the kind of fun I like to see at a commander table where it's hey, listen, it's an enchantment creature. All you got to do is make sure you can block it. And I might make that hard for you, but... I just put like a nuclear threat on the board. You have to deal with it, or somebody's gonna get it.
All right, I want to make this perfectly clear for the audience. The audience couldn't see you raise your hand up like you're an innocent person. By the way, he thinks he's innocent. He is guilty. Kill him first. Okay. Let's make this perfectly clear. He is not innocent. Oh.
So I added, I think, to the list. I added 5 or 6 different summons, and some of the up and down the scale. And I just really think that they give the list a lot more utility and it actually gives us some really powerful end game threats as well, like something to do to really close out the game. And that's the second chart card that I chose here. Anybody who's been studying the set is probably familiar with this, and if you know Final Fantasy, it is arguably the most powerful spell, certainly in that game, arguably in all of the games. And it is Summon Knights of Round, which they cut out the word "the" to save space on the card, but it's Knights of the Round in the game. So anyway, this is an 8-mana enchantment. So even with the cost reduction, this still costs 4. But paying 4 for this is ridiculous. So it is a 8-mana Saga Knight enchantment creature. It's a 3/3 indestructible creature. It has 5 chapters. The first 4 chapters all make 3 2/2 white knights. So you end up with a total of 12 white knights if you get through all 4 chapters. And at the 5th chapter, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and put an indestructible counter on each of them.
Why does he... First of all, why does he have indestructible? Why?
Right.
I get it. He's the most powerful summon in the game. Oh! But why? No, seriously, this card's great.
Because they made it cost 8. They made it cost 8 and said we're gonna make because they were trying to respect that it was the most powerful summon in the whole game, and they wanted to reflect that, and they did it. We talk a lot about an army in a can. This is it right here. This is a badass army in a can, and all you have to do is cheat it into play. Lots of fun ways to do that. Aminatou is one of them, and I think is a pretty effective one because the Aminatou deck also does the extra trick of reanimating stuff from the graveyard because it surveils every turn. So it's definitely playing with stuff to reanimate. So sometimes it just gets it back that way.
Oh, you can even reanimate it with just reanimate. Gross.
That's right. Because it's a creature.
Gross. Stop.
Yes.
Oh, my feelings are hurt.
Yeah. This card's amazing.
Funny thing about all the summon cards, man. When I was doing my homework for this episode, I saw summon cards and I was like, God, that's just too many words right now. So I didn't really read many of them. I was like, there's just too many words.
That's what the set feels like as a whole. And I think that if you really run it through your filter, thematically that's correct.
It makes a lot of sense.
All of the Final Fantasy games are way complicated, and they've only become more complicated over time. So having the cards be so complex is really on theme with Final Fantasy.
And just think on how many words are in Final Fantasy 1 through, when did they start doing like actual voice acting? 13?
10.
10? Oh, 10. They had
10.
voice acting. So like,
Yep.
The first 10 games, you know what? You have a homework assignment, okay? You need to Google search how many words, not you, I'm talking to the camera. You folks need to figure out how many words are in all of those games. But anyway,
make it happen. All right, you're up. Who's next on your list?
All right, so I'm actually mad at this card right now because, funny story, I misplaced it for a little bit. So I bought another copy of it, which is a $20 card. And then literally 5 minutes after I bought it, I found it. So now I have two of them.
Sympathetic. That's sympathetic magic. Of course you did.
So anyway, I'm talking about Indominus Rex Alpha. We're talking about keyword soup here, baby. So, two of the cards are... so let's read what he says. Anyway, so for 5 mana, which it's a mix assault type, but guaranteed green. It says, as Indominus Rex Alpha enters the battlefield, discard any number of creature cards. It enters with a flying counter on it if the discarded this way had flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Haste, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. That's a lot.
That's a lot of words.
But here's the kicker. It's worse. Okay, so when he enters, draw cards for each counter on it. This card's silly on its own. So I'm picking up 2 cards here at the same time. The first card is where'd the second card go? Oh god. Anyway, so where'd the Triad guy go? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to search for him right now. But we're gonna talk about the Iron Giant for just a second here. All he is a 7 mana Vigilance, Reach, Trample, 6/6. So the reason why I picked him is because he has 3 keywords. I'm a huge fan of Vigilance on my commander. I'm a huge fan of Trample. Reach I can live without because a lot of times I'm giving him flying on top of it, but that's just say, hey, draw an extra card. And then the other card we're going to talk about, drum roll please, because I have to Google, or not Google search, but Scryfall search for him, because I am so prepared.
You're the most prepared.
Yeah, something like that. It's the Warring Triad. Come on, robot, load. Anyway, here he is. So he is a 3 mana 5/5 flying trample haste. As long as there are as long as there are fewer than 8 cards in your graveyard, it's not a creature. And then I can tap it to mill a card. Target player adds 1 mana of any color. He also has flying trample haste. So haste is really important to get on my commander. Amazing. Turns out flying, great keyword. Again, trample, amazing. Also, I put a lot of cards in my graveyard. Sometimes I'm going to play them as a mana dork.
Yep.
Seems great to me. Now I'm more likely to save this in my hand. Unless if it's like I have only 4 lands and I want to guarantee that drop on turn 5 or turn 4 at that point. I want to guarantee it. I will do it. However, I'm probably going to save it. This card's amazing.
Yeah, having haste because of the colors that you're in, it's harder for you to find that. So this is an artifact, right?
Yeah.
So they're like both of those first 2 are. So like having access to those is just fantastic. And the Warring Triad is actually just like it does what you want it to do, but it also has a reasonable enough upside that it still feels like a good card.
Yeah. Oh my god, I could gush all about this. I mean, I just played it the other day in my LGS, and it's really hard to get rid of all those keywords once they have them on the creature. So the next card on my list for Indominus Rex Alpha. Not as good as those two. However, we're talking about Bugenhagen, the Wise Elder. He is a 2-mana legendary creature human shaman. 1/3. He has reach. So,
got a keyword.
He has keyword. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, draw a card. Sweet. And then he can tap to add a mana of any color. So, he is definitely one of those creatures that I'm going to want to play before my commander to get it out sooner. But if I draw him mid to late game, I'm giving my commander reach and drawing an additional card. Because reach isn't one that I have a lot of. So, like, I have now, like, with these 3 cards, I have a more diverse keyword selection, I guess is the way I want to put it. But we also did a deck tech on this episode, too, so it's all down there, people. Hashtag shameless self-plug. So, Tim.
I mean, it is our show. We can plug ourselves on our own show.
Fair enough. So, Tim. I'm looking at the card on this list, and this card is silly, so I need you to tell everyone about it.
Yeah, both of these next cards I wanted to talk about, and I don't mind being honest about this. The commander that I'm looking at for both of these is Yuladak the Void Gorger. So this is the colorless commander back from the Commander Masters pre-cons, the colorless one. It was quite a while ago now. So it's 6 mana, 5 and a specific colorless for a 7/4 Eldrazi. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade. So finding new colorless things that really make this deck feel stronger is hard. Like, they just don't usually in standard sets print cards that really, really shine. But these two are both very, very good. So the first one is Ultima, Origin of Oblivion. It's a 5 mana colorless creature. It's not an artifact, it's just a colorless creature. It's not an Eldrazi. It's very weird in the mythology to have it be this unique. But it is a 4/4 flying god. Whenever Ultima attacks, put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter, it loses all land types and abilities and has tap for a colorless. So it shuts down other people's utility lands. Whenever you tap a land for colorless mana, add an additional colorless mana.
I'm sorry, does that say ramp on top of it?
It does. It says Ultima, Origin of Ramp.
Ultima. That sounds more appropriate because this card is bonkers in the right deck. This isn't something you're going to see on your everyday commander table, but Yuladak is like feed me more. Yeah, this card's great.
Yeah, it's going to like it a lot. And I actually, like, the more I look at it, the more I think, I think that this has its own commander potential. Like, this is another option as your colorless commander, and depending on what you're doing with your colorless deck. So my colorless deck is a kind of an Eldrazi deck, so it's trying to play those 7 mana spells. But if you were trying to do something a little bit different, Ultima might be better because it basically just turns all your land. It's basically a mana flare for 5. And your command zone if you choose to play it as your commander. But it's definitely going to help out the Yuladak deck. I really like this card quite a lot for that purpose.
Yeah, that card's spicy.
And then the other card I'm looking at for Yuladak, it shouldn't surprise anybody because this is, I think, one of the chase cards in the set, period. And I think this with very good reason. And it's Summon Bahamut. It's a 9 mana colorless enchantment creature saga dragon. It is a 9/9 flying creature. It has 4 chapters. Chapters 1 and 2 are destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Chapter 3 is draw 2 cards, and Chapter 4 wins the game. It's not what it says, but Chapter 4 says this creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent.
So Deval wants this now.
Do you have enough mana value on board to make it to win with it?
I mean, I can. Well, I guess that's more tokens, I guess.
Yeah, so I submit to you this in Yuladak.
You're
like this
welcome.
with where everything's mana value is extraordinarily high. And when I get to the fourth commander I'm going to talk about, I'm going to refer back to, hey, remember that card I talked about a minute ago? This is exactly the win condition that that other deck is looking for, which makes me very sad because I feel very strongly that I have to buy 3 copies of this card.
You have to buy
because
3.
I have 3 different
no.
decks. I have 3 different decks that won it, and I'm talking about all of them today. So it's tough, but it's not cheap. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I was hoping to pull one in my box. I didn't. I got a Knights of the Round, but not a Bahamut. So
you should definitely check out that video description.
Oh, hey, watch me open a box of cards.
Hey, we got there. Okay.
All right, you're up.
So,
who's next for you?
So the deck that I'm talking about, he is the love of my life. He is Garth One-Eyed, and let me tell you, picking cards for this deck is incredibly difficult because that deck is, dare I say, very tuned. But anyway, let's read what Garth says because it has nothing to do with what the deck does. Garth One-Eyed says, it's a Wooburg commander. It says, choose a card name that hasn't been chosen from among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, Black Lotus. Create a copy of that card with the chosen name. You may cast that copy. You still pay its cost. So the reason why he's the commander is because I love the Brain Geyser for a lot. At instant speed, and draw a lot of cards. But the shell of this deck is it's a group huggy kind of like control deck. It's more control deck, but there's group huggy cards. Banner Flare's a group huggy card too.
It is not. I disagree.
Okay, you're absolutely correct. So anyway,
it is a symmetrical effect. I will give you that.
Anyway, so the deck wins with Door to Nothingness. So it kills everybody with Door to Nothingness. So the card that we're going to talk about first is Go-Go, Master of Mimicry. And he is a 3-mana legendary creature wizard. I can take X and tap it to copy target activated or triggered ability you control X times. You may choose new targets of those copies. This ability can't be copied, and X can't be 0. So, this is just another way to copy Door to Nothingness. If the mana is high enough, I can copy Garth's ability. I can copy... I guess Seaborn Muse isn't triggered. A triggered ability? Is it a triggered ability?
I think it does say when.
Oh, so there's a lot of things that I can do by copying this, okay? Primarily it's to copy the door trigger, but there's other things that I can copy.
I guess.
And I guess only having 200 mana. Now, the one thing I will say, it can't copy mana abilities. So, like, my Doubling Cube, I can't copy that. I can't copy, like, I don't know, Cabal Coffers. It's not in the list, but like this is the public service announcement about this card. Can't copy mana abilities. I saw a post on Facebook that was like, "Oh, I have this, and Gojo," and I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't work. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't work as well as you think." So, yeah, very important. This card's
it's so rare that a card gets printed that I look at it and I go, that immediately goes in the Garth deck, or that goes in the Door deck, and this one, I mean, this is just actually a very unique card. We've had things that copy effects, but like the fact that you can do it more than once with the same activation it really is a one-shot stop for killing everybody with the Door. Right. At the same time, you have this, and you activate the Door, you activate it, and copy it twice. Whole table's dead.
GG's.
It's just amazing. So I was really excited to see this, and I don't think it's actually that unreasonable of a rate, like in terms of what it costs to play the card or activate the card.
Well, Rings of Bright Hearth costs 2.
Yep.
The mathematical genius guy from Doctor Who costs 2.
Yep.
The only one that costs 1 that I have is the one that only can copy uh, activated abilities of colorless things. So really, that's only targeting that. So like, I would probably just get rid of that and put this in here instead.
Oh, makes
So
sense.
like, I don't need another one. And the cool thing about this card is I can play this on turn 5 or whatever, and no one's going to be like, "Oh, kill that thing! It's a monster!" No one's going to care about this card. So like, playing it early is fine, unless if you know what the deck is doing. Which by now, if you don't know what it's doing, you haven't been watching this show long, and you need to go back and watch all the other episodes right now.
All of them. Right
all
now.
of them. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and go into the second card here. And this card was a lot harder to pick, and I really wanted to talk about this card, and I guess this is the best place to put it. It doesn't need to go in here, but I like what it does. So we're talking about Absolute Virtue. It's an 8 mana legendary creature, Avatar Warrior. This spell can't be countered. Sweet. It is an 8/8 flyer. Who cares? You have protection from each of your opponents. You can't be dealt damage, enchanted, or targeted by anything controlled by your opponents. So that means if they attack me, I don't take damage, do I?
That's correct.
Okay, this officially just made the list. Honestly, this is just a good protection piece. I have been doored by my own door. So I made some corrections. Here's another piece to that correction.
Yeah, you couldn't be targeted with the redirect.
It will never happen to me again, Tim.
I'm going to mark the time and date that you said that.
It is 11:10 at night, and it is 6:11, by the way, for all that care. Yeah, this card's silly. It says I don't die. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for what the deck does, it's interesting that it's like it kind of went in there as a like consideration piece, but the more you look at it, the more you go, this might actually make it. This might be something worth more than just consideration.
I am sold on it now. 100% sold. So
I love how we can talk ourselves into things.
I do it all the time, and it gets me in trouble. Like I buy random kayaks that I probably don't need, but I want.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Sometimes I buy boxes of Final Fantasy and open them on camera. I don't know.
It's okay. It's our job, Tim. See?
Is it a job?
It's a business expense. See now?
Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead. We've been talking enough about my cards. Let's go ahead and talk about more of Tim's cards.
Okay, so this is my last commander for today, and I don't think it's going to surprise anybody because this commander, everybody's been talking about it because it got so many new toys in this
really
set,
did.
and it is old Tom Bombadil from Lord of the Rings. So this is a 5-color commander. It's a 4/4 God Bard. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom has hexproof and indestructible. Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card onto the battlefield, the rest on the bottom in a random order. This ability only triggers once each turn. So Tom is he's the saga commander. There are others, but he's 5-color, which allows you to do a lot of really fun things. And really, the deck is kind of dirtily and kind of has a hard time actually getting all the way to a win. So I'm going to refer back to a couple of minutes ago when we were talking about our old friend Summon Bahamut, that deck has a lot of board state. And all of those sagas have mana values, and it has the read ahead card from Doctor Who in it, so you can get Bahamut and get that final trigger the turn it goes off. So it's basically something that the deck will be able to look for that card as an instant win function, as a destroy everybody all at once, which I'm very happy for. But the cards I chose to talk about are utility cards that are just very strong for this build. Also, just fan favorite characters of mine and of a lot of other people's. Both of these cards are. So the first one is Yuna, the Hope of Spira. So Yuna's a Selesnya, 3, a green and a white. It's a 3/5 human cleric. During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, return up to one target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It's the end step part that really sells this card for me. You don't have to wait a whole turn for it to work, and the fact that it gives itself ward, making it that much more difficult, because people are often holding up just enough mana to path, or to do that one removal spell they have in their hand. And ward makes it so that you can't do that now. If you've only got one white, you're not hitting my Yuna with a path. I'm going to get that reanimation, and then if you don't deal with it, I'm going to do it again the following turn as well. So again, for a deck that dumps a lot of stuff into the graveyard, Yuna reanimating those things, especially since the sagas are all creatures as well, she gives them all trample and lifelink. It's just, actually, I think this is one of my favorite designed cards from the whole set, is that Yuna is a summoner in the story, and so for her to like bring the summons and make them stronger than they normally would be just feels very, very good design to me.
Yeah, that card sounds absolutely solid. Like, the whole ward thing is just okay. Wizards of the Coast. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. Really, did it have to have ward as well? Like, pretty solid card. I can't wait to see it in action. Because I don't know. Turn 5, play that. Get Bahamut from your graveyard. Put it into play. Wait, will that win you the game?
So you'd have to have enough. You'd have to have enough mana value on board in order to do that. But like, remember that sagas die. A lot of them do anyway. Mm-hmm. Some of them turn into creatures when they resolve. But so you have sagas that just go to the graveyard. The early ones that ramp you and do that other stuff, like, they're going to be in the graveyard. So having this come out on turn 4 or 5, and then to start reusing those, it just is very. And I actually like it probably a little bit better than like, and I'm not going to trade it out for it, but like a Nixthia exiles the cards and brings them back as zombies instead. So like, I like that it's actually bringing the card back and not exiling it and making a token.
But when it leaves, it's going to exile no matter what anyway.
No, not necessarily true.
Oh,
finality
right.
counter means
counters too.
You can. Yes, you can. Yes, the deck can remove counters from things, so you can remove finality counters. Blinking also resolves finality, so finality counter only triggers when it dies.
Oh, it's only when it dies. That's so much.
At least I'm fairly certain. I was just looking at it the other day for a different reason, but yeah, I'm fairly certain that's the case.
That sounds busted.
And then the second card is, again, another main character from a different game, from 6 this time. This is Terra Magical Adept. This is word salad, so just bear with me. Just tuck in, okay? It's going to be a minute. This is cozy here. This is technically a 5, or it's all 5 colors in color identity, but on the front half, it's 1, a red and a green. It's a 4/2. It's a human wizard warrior. When it enters, mill 5 cards, put up to 1 enchantment milled this way into your hand. And then you can trance 4, a red, a green, tap it, exile Terra, return it transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. The backside is Esper Terra. It's a 6/6 flying saga wizard enchantment creature. 4 lore counters. The first 3 all say create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your end step. So let's remember that Bahamut has 4 lore counters. So if you make a copy of it, then add 3, the 4th thing goes off. So it copies things 3 times, gives them haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of the end step. The 4th chapter, double Wooburg, add to your mana pool, and then flip her back to her front side. So again, there's a lot going on there. But just trust me when I say that, like, this card, early in the game, it's only 3 mana investment. It's probably going to mill an enchantment from your graveyard, from your deck into your hand, and then you're going to have it. And then once you get to 6, this flips, copies something, and just goes to town. Just does all sorts of really, really crazy stuff.
Yeah, one thing that I like about this, it turns out a lot of sagas aren't legendaries. So
True.
You have pick of the town here.
I'm actually not sure that any of them are.
Well, I mean, Esperterra is legendary. I think the summons are also legendary. If I'm not mistaken.
The summons are not.
They're not? No, they have to be. No! Wizards! What are you doing?
What do you care? You play Commander.
Yeah, Tim, I'm the one that has to sit on the other side of this nonsense. I'm not doing it, you are. No! I'm in trouble, people. I'm in lots and lots of trouble.
Yeah, so you can make multiple copies of it without having to legend rule them. Yes.
Gross.
So if my Tom Bombadil deck wasn't dirtily enough, we just added this card to it.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. Be prepared to solve a lot of triggers. All right,
you're up.
So this deck is the deck I kind of wanted to talk about the most because it's getting the most toys. So the deck we're talking about is SpongeBob SquarePants. He is a woo bird for a legendary creature human wizard. Legendary creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a legendary card with lesser mana value. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, the deck premise for this is SpongeBob's Tour Guide of the Multiverse. Hey, Tim, is Final Fantasy a Universe Beyond set?
It is a Universe Beyond set.
I'm sorry, how many legendary creatures are in this set?
I didn't count, but it's a lot.
Over 100. Okay.
It's over 100, I just found out.
I'm pretty sure it's 117. But who's counting anyway? There's a build theme to it, right? It is more of a humans tribal kind of deck. But, like, I'm using humans from across the multiverse. So, but also, there's a lot of just, like, standard cards that I couldn't run. So, like, cards that I wanted to talk about originally were, like, Harmonize and Nature's Claim, because they came up with, like, the Esper, mining for Esper, which is Nature's Claim, and then there's Harmonize with Aerith's art on it. And, like, sometimes that deck needs that little bit of just normalcy of normal cards to kind of, like, get it through. But the cards we're talking about are going to be silly. So the first card we're going to talk about is Sephiroth, Planet's Heir. He is a 6-mana legendary creature, human avatar soldier with vigilance. He's a 4/4. Whenever Sephiroth enters creatures your opponents control, get -2/-2 until end of turn. And whenever a creature an opponent control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So the reason why I picked this card, A, is because I'm going to cascade into something silly. Also, there's not too many board wipes in this list because it turns out there's some. There's not like the card pool that I have isn't massive, but now I have like another like board wipe that helps also further my game plan along. So really looking forward to just windmill slam this and kill half their creatures, and then Sephiroth's super big and just like start stabby people. Sounds great.
Yeah, it does.
So the next card on my list, and as I said, this is a human-ish tribal deck. So we got Tifa, martial artist. She is 1 and Naya. She has melee, which is whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attack this combat. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there is an additional combat phase after this. Hey Tim, what does SpongeBob do? he makes creatures really, really big, right?
Makes them really big based on however many other creatures you have.
Interesting. And is 7 a really big number or a kind of small number?
I mean, it's the average of 2d6.
That's true. And SpongeBob makes things above average.
It does.
It turns out being able to swing multiple times with really, really big creatures might just win you the game.
It might.
Just might. Yeah, this card's pretty sick nasty. Can't wait to get it onto the battlefield because, like, she will even trigger on herself, presuming I attack one creature to each opponent, which is pretty solid, but, like, I'm probably gonna just alpha strike people to death. And the fact that SpongeBob's doing it makes it way better.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, and really the opportunity cost is so low. I mean, it's a 4/4 for 4 to begin with. It's like, and you know, if you play a creature on curve for like 2 through 5, you have 2-drop, 3-drop, Tifa, Commander. Your creatures are all +4/+4. They're huge.
And dare I say I win? I don't know. It seems pretty solid.
I mean, maybe, unless somebody has a Settle the Wreckage.
Don't remind me, Tim. So, we're going to go ahead and start diving into some honorable mentions. We love this section because sometimes we just don't have enough time to talk about all the cards we want. So, we want to talk about more cards. So, we gave ourselves this section.
Yeah.
So, Tim, what's your honorable mention and what deck is it going?
I had a hard time with this. I really did. And I actually just ended up like picking a card that was like on my list earlier on a couple of my other lists, and they ended up getting slotted out each time because I had something that I thought was a little splashier. Because I don't think this card is splashy, but I love utility cards, and this one really does just that. So we're talking about Owaka, Traveling Merchant. This is from Final Fantasy X, if you know, you know. So it's 1 and a blue for a 1/2 human citizen. You can tap it to remove a counter from a non-land permanent you control. Draw a card.
Oh, wait, weren't we talking about finality counters and lore counters and stuff?
So this removes lore counters. This removes finality counters. This removes stun counters. This removes good things, bad things. You know, it's a very high value utility card. And I would just say that like right now, last I looked, this card was not financially expensive. So I would really encourage people to pick up a couple copies of this.
$2.
I think that the utility of this is going to continue to only get better over time. It's fantastic with sagas. It's fantastic with any kind of counter synergy. Even if you're just playing +1/+1 counters, drawing an extra card each turn is not a bad thing. So it really is quite solid for a lot of reasons. You know, again, not splashy, just real good utility.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. Like, and not every card that we want to add to our decks are going to be the game winners or whatever. We need our fruits and veggies, Tim, and this is like a perfect fruit and veggie card.
He sells fruits and veggies. Look at him. You know he does.
Exactly. That's why, I brought it up.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and go into my honorable mention. And again, this is going to be in the SpongeBob deck because when I get to the first ability it has, you're going to understand why. So we're talking about VV Horniter. I'm probably butchering his name, but he is a 3-mana white and Izzet, blue and red. Legendary creature wizard. He is a 0/3. Add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is VZ's power. Activate only during your turn, and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on VV, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. The second line's like, whatever. Imagine a world.
You know what's? Hold on, I gotta stop you there. Like, you said the second line is whatever, and it's what everybody else in the field cares about. Everybody else cares about that part, about the fact that it does damage and makes him bigger every time you cast a non-creature spell. And you're like, whatever.
Whatever. So, imagine a world where on turn 2, I play a legendary creature. On turn 3, I play a legendary creature named Vivi. On turn
Hmm.
4, I play SpongeBob. And then on turn 5, I'm getting 4 or 5 mana pretty easily from this. Just by doing things. And it cost me nothing. Well, it cost me 3. But again, my ramp package in that deck are bobbleheads, Tim. I need some powerful stuff. Bobbleheads.
Will do.
So, I think this is a pretty good rant piece.
It's hilarious that that's all it is to you. Like, this is probably the commander people are most hype about for this set.
And I'm using it wrong.
It's a standard card. It's going to be a really, really amazing commander. And Zombie's over here going, I'm going to put it in my SpongeBob deck for ramp.
Am I playing this card wrong, Tim?
I mean, yes. No. I mean, I don't know that there is a wrong. It's just very funny to me that that's what it's doing for you.
I love how I focus on the wrong side of the card compared to everyone else. But that's the kind of Magic player I am. Tim, I kill people with a door for a living. Okay.
You do.
Okay, it's not for a living yet, but you can help. Just share our stuff.
Like, subscribe, tell your friends. So to wrap up today, we're going to talk about, now that we've talked about the commanders that we do already play and the cards that we want to go in there, we wanted to wrap up by talking about a couple of commanders that we are excited about, legendary creatures that we think would be interesting to build around. We're not going to go into deep dives or anything. We're just going to mention them briefly and talk a little bit about what we would do with that commander. So the ones on my list to start out, the first one is Kuja. Genome Sorcerer. So this is a Rakdos commander, 2, a black and a red, for a 3/4 human mutant wizard. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 0/1 black wizard creature token with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then, if you control 4 or more wizards, transform Kuja. So again, lots of text on this card. The back half is a 4/6 avatar wizard that reads, if a wizard you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So the goal of this deck would be to make, because there's actually a lot of support for this already in the set, making these Black Mage tokens. Mm-hmm. There's a number of other cards that already do it, and then we already have wizards in the format that have a similar effect, all the way back to Gutter Snipe, right?
We got Gutter Snipe, Young Pyromancer. Like, there's a lot of wizards.
There are, and there's a lot of wizards that do this damaging your opponent effect. So really, this looks to kind of storm off, cast a lot of very, very cheap spells, and get that incremental damage. And then once it's really not hard to flip Kuja. It's not, because it's a wizard. It makes a wizard on your end step. If you play on curve 2-drop wizard, 3-drop wizard, 4-drop Kuja, it makes the thing on the end step. It's flipped. You're there already. Not hard to do. So at that point, all of your wizards are doing double damage. So every spell you cast might be doing 5, 6, 7 damage.
Gross.
Yeah. Gross. Yes, because if you imagine a world where you cast a 2-drop wizard, let's say it's the one that makes wizards trigger double. And then you're playing Gutter Snipe on 3, and then you play Kuja on 4, and then you get the thing on the back. You've got 1 damage from the token, 2 damage from Gutter Snipe, the guy that doubles them, or the guy that doubles the triggers, and then Kuja doubles the damage. So that's 2, it's 3, 6, twice?
Math?
12?
Math?
Per spell? So, I think that this is interesting. I've always had a hard time finding a Rakdos commander that I'm interested in, so this one really shone out to me as I don't know, this is a Spellslinger deck in Rakdos, so I'm interested.
I think it's really cool. So, two things I want to mention. I think your math is slightly wrong, because it's dealing damage to an opponent. They get to choose the replacement effects, like the order of it. So
it's not double. That's not what's happening. No? It's doubling the trigger and then doubling the damage. I'm talking about the 2 mana thing.
Oh yeah, that's gross. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 2-mana wizard that doubles wizard triggers.
Okay, yes, I know who you're talking
And so
about.
basically every spell that you cast would make 2 gutter snipe
Right,
triggers, 2 wizard token triggers, and then each of those
those
triggers
deal
would do
deal double.
double its normal damage. Yeah.
Okay, makes more sense now. Also, I think the hard balance between this card is finding the right amount of wizards and the
Yep.
right amount of spells. It's going to be a very difficult balance to make sure it's flipping, and having the non-creature spells to deal the damage itself. So I think it would be a very fun deck to build. I would love to see it in action. So we're going to talk about the commander I'm excited for, and it turns out I have a bug, and it is the Sultai bug. I am digging Sultai a lot lately, and Sin Spira's Punishment. I'm going to build this, but it's going to be a punishing deck. No, okay, that's not true at all. I just thought it would be funny. Anyway, Sin Spira's Punishment is a 7-mana 4 and Sultai, black, green, blue. He is a Leviathan Avatar, 7/7 flying. Whenever Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random. Then create a tapped token of that. That's a copy of that card. If the exiled card is a land, repeat this process. I just love how saucy it is. Like I love the I love the randomness. Uh, Makes it less broken. But like if you hit a land, you do it again. So I think there's a lot of fun cards that you could pick. Obviously, it's just going to be a relatively generic Sultai deck where you're going to ramp, you're going to have punishing spells. It's going to be great. But man, I got a Sultai bug.
Yeah, I think that there's a random element to this one, but it could still be a pretty extraordinary amount of fun.
Well, you can also just limit the amount of cards in your graveyard so you're getting exactly what you want too. So like it doesn't have to be the crazy self mill. I mean, having cards with Delve make it a little bit better because you're removing the cards you don't want. So you're leaving all your lands and 1 or 2 spells. Sounds great to me. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this card. And I can't wait to build it.
All right, my last commander that I'm going to talk about is also something of a segue to the next podcast episode that we're going to do because I've actually already built this deck, and this is Tidus Yuna's Guardian. This is the Bant Precon commander for the Final Fantasy X Precon. So it's a green, a white, and a blue for a 3/3 human warrior. The beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. And then whenever 1 or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn. So it's funny because it's like it's worded so deliberately to make it so that you can only do it once, but it's actually a little wordier than it needs to be. But yeah, so this is a commander that draws you a card every turn if you meet the right requirements, but it also proliferates. So I'm really building it as kind of a +1/+1 counter Bant aggressive deck, which isn't really necessarily my normal playstyle, but it really can be a lot of fun. I already have a different deck that's kind of +1/+1 counters in the Wise Mothman, but it's a very different way of getting there. But really, like, I've also done a proliferate deck in the past as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun to build, and I'm trying to keep it as close to theme as possible. Like I'm going to make sure that I include all 7 of Yuna and Tidus's like crew, like all of the Guardians are still in there. A lot of the other legends are probably going to come out, but I wanted to keep the core group there, even though some of them are kind of mid, like Orin, which I think he got the shaft in this because Orin's one of my favorite characters of Final Fantasy at all times. and his card is fine. It's not great. It's got an attack trigger, so it's like it's probably never going to get to do its thing. But all of the other ones are actually pretty solid.
Right.
Some of them are actually really good. So the precon is very strong, and as most of us already know, the precon came installed with an infinite combo already in it. So I may or may not leave that in there.
It's only a turn 3 win, Tim.
You have to have exactly the right cards for it to be a turn 3 win, and it could be disrupted in like 3 different, like in a whole bunch of different
You're not
ways.
wrong, but like it's also turn 3.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
So
I think this is going to be a really cool deck to see build up and all that stuff. So I mean, who doesn't love just smacking people with big dumb creatures? So
yeah,
it sounds like a great card, and I like the fact that you're leaving that combo in there because like sometimes there just needs to be the high win button.
that's right.
So we're going to go ahead and go into my last commander that I'm excited about. And I really like this character. I didn't play Final Fantasy VI all the way through, and I'm kind of regretting that. Maybe one day I own it. I own it on my PC, so I could come back to it. Maybe. I've been very busy because I worked on it. But we're talking about Kefka, Dancing Mad. He is a 7-mana Rakdos commander, so it's 5 and a black and a red. Legendary creature, human wizard. During your turn, Kefka has indestructible. He's a 6/6, and then at the beginning of your end step, exile a card at random from each of your opponent's graveyards. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled this way without paying its mana cost. Then, players lose who owns a spell you cast this way loses life equal to its mana value. I really enjoy. I used to have this File Smasher deck that would just randomly hurt people from casting big spells, and this is doing the same thing. This deck would require me to do a lot of thinking and getting cards into other people's graveyards in black and red. Besides killing them, sounds kind of difficult, but it's a challenge I'm willing to try and figure out because I just like the idea of casting everyone else's spells to win the game and just doming people for a lot. But there's also times where I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to cast this 3 visits that I can't get a forest with. But you're taking 2, son! You're taking 2! But there's also going to be those times where people are like, I have an expropriate in my graveyard. It's like, is that the best idea to do? Like, let's be honest here. So, I like the fact that it wins with other people's cards and dealing damage with that. I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, I'm excited to build this one too.
Yeah, it's a great choice, and there's more than one Kefka in the set, and this one is from the precon. So it's interesting to think about, how different they really are. Fun fact: "Dancing Mad" is a reference to the song that plays in the final fight of Final Fantasy VI. That's the name of the song. Yeah. So, and it is one of the most fantastic pieces of music that composer has ever written. It is, and it's like it's 8-bit. It's like it's from a Super Nintendo game, and it is so amazing. And then when you hear it done in an orchestra, it's even more powerful. But yeah, "Dancing Mad" is a reference to that song.
Yeah, as I said, I'm super excited about it. But Tim, I think we said everything that needs to be said.
I could go on for a lot longer, but we are approaching the end of our time together. So, friends, opponents, we fully completed our sphere grid for today. It's time for us to save our game and call it a day. So thank you, as always, for spending time with us here on the Head Games Commander podcast. Remember that you can support this show and all of our other content by watching this and other videos on our YouTube page. Check out our streams on Twitch and YouTube. You can see those links in the description.
But before we scoop things up, we want to hear from you, the think tank. Why is Final Fantasy so good? But really, what commanders are you excited to build about from this set? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for playing along with us. And have a wonderful day. I was going Dancing Battle there for a second. Bye!